I would be super straightforward. People are conflict avoidant. People hate this question. They hate having this conversation.
Hi, this is Laura.
Laura, what's up?
Well, thank you so much. This is so cool. I appreciate you doing this.
Oh my God, I appreciate you doing this. Where do you live, Laura?
I live in Manhattan.
Okay, that's cool. You're an assistant?
Yeah, so I'm an executive assistant. I've been in this position with my executive for almost 2 years now, and just looking to move on. But I'm not looking for another assistant position. So as I'm interviewing and applying to jobs, I'm having a hard time really capturing exactly what I do. Obviously, it's so much more than calendar management and meeting management. And I'm finding that people that I'm interviewing with who maybe have never been an EA or have never had one, don't quite understand that. So I'm trying to figure out how to professionally communicate or depict that a lot of my executive successes are indicative of my performance or vice versa. And so, I'm just looking for some advice with that.
That's awesome. Daniela, my assistant, and I tried to create this show. I think we trademarked it, actually. We had this idea for a show called The Assistants, where we would bring assistants together because, let's face it, assistants know everything. It would be such a good show. Yeah. Anyways, well, congratulations to you. I think it's great to... First of all, I think this being an EA is an awesome learning experience. It's kind of a double-edged sword a little bit for exactly what you're experiencing, which is you kind of get stuck in the EA track. And I think you're doing the right thing by moving on from that, because there's kind of the perception of the career executive assistant, when in reality, it's an awesome way to get a firsthand look at a company. It's super high pressure. There's a ton of accountability. You're totally reactive. You have to handle whatever gets thrown at you. You are responsible for something very intimate, which is someone's schedule. You may know about their money. You may know who they're meeting with. It's very sensitive. So the first thing I would say is I congratulate you on having this job and then also looking for a new one. I would be really sure when you have your resume that you're outlining, really outlining the skills that you've developed and the things that you're responsible for. So not just coordinating meetings or, getting coffee and booking travel and shit like that. It's more you are responsible for the week in and week out schedule of an executive for an X size business. Quantify, you set approximately 55 meetings a week. Start to quantify the impact. The team that you're a part of has grown from blank to blank. Don't put your job experience just in the vacuum of this one person you work for and your specific role. Talk about what else you have helped make possible and be specific about it. So that's that's the first thing. I think the second thing is, I do think there's a stigma around being EAs, and I think you need to fight extra hard in getting that next job and getting your foot in the door. So, I think you want to, when you write your cover letter or you send the email or you do whatever it is you need to do to kind of get your foot in the door to have a conversation with someone, you need to say I wanted to be an executive assistant because I wanted to learn these things. I wanted to accomplish these things. I wanted to get a front row seat at a business. It's kind of if you looked at the talent agencies like CAA or WME, being an assistant at those companies is it's a position. It's a lauded position. It's a position that people want, and it's a philosophy that by being close to an executive, you'll learn from that executive, and ultimately you will be an executive yourself. In other companies and kind of sectors, it isn't like that. So, what I would do is just be really forceful in what you've helped accomplish in your group. I would be really not aggressive, but I would be very proactive in articulating what you've learned in this experience. And then I would also, kind of thread the needle in terms of how this makes you extra qualified for this next job.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Awesome. Good luck to you.
Thank you. I really appreciate your time.
Okay, we'll see you later. Hi, Alex.
Hi, Erika. How are you?
I'm great. We have all girls calling today. That's so exciting. Alex, where do you live?
I'm in New York, actually.
Awesome. What do you do in New York?
I am an associate producer right now.
Oh, that's exciting. Do you like it?
And I am. I've been working in journalism, media, video, all that kind of stuff for a few years now.
Okay.
And I got hired right after the pandemic as a freelancer for my company.
Okay.
And I love what I'm doing. I don't know if it's my full potential. And
Okay.
that's kind of what I want to talk to you about. I kind of feel almost stuck because I'm not a full-time hire yet, and they promised me I would be, and it hasn't happened yet. And now I'm kind of in this weird predicament where, like, okay, do I stay? I had brought it up before with, my higher ups and managers, and promises that just haven't been fulfilled yet.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just kind of wondering what you would do.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So one, I love producers. So we have great producers here. Shout out Mackenzie. Mackenzie and I are manning down the fort by ourselves today with a little help from Devin, which we're excited about. What I would say, Alex, is it's hard to grow your career when you're a freelancer because there's something that you're not almost committed to a company in a way, and they're not committed to you in a way. And one of the things that I think is happening in work right now is there's just more gigs that are going to freelance. So I think that being, how do you handle your career when you're a freelancer is a really big, great topic. And I'm sure a lot of people are grappling with that. I think in your case, I think what you should say to, whoever the regular producer is or the managing producer or the director or whatever, is I think you should say, hey, I love it here. I think I'm doing great work. I'm learning a lot. I'm excited about it. Be specific on a couple productions that you're really proud of. And then I would say, but I'm really interested in having a full-time gig. I really want to commit to something. I have a lot of vision. I care about growing my career and my skill. I think I could be a great producer, and I'd like more opportunity. I'd like more responsibility. And I'd love just a really straight answer from you. And do you think that's possible here? And if so, what's that timeline? I think one of the hard things about producers and production is it's a really reactive job type, and you guys are kind of the last to know. You know what I mean? Like a show gets greenlit, an advertiser comes in, then the production department has to scramble, So I think that one of the hard things about your line of work is that you're not like driving the bus. It's kind of like you're just making sure the wheels are on and you're driving the right speed when the driver gets into the bus. So I would go ahead and have that conversation. I would also start to look around. Nothing makes people want to hire you more than having an offer somewhere else sometimes. So I would also look around to see if there are permanent, producer or associate producer jobs around you. I'm sure there are a ton in New York. And that I think also can create some urgency for the conversation. I wouldn't threaten the company by any means, but I would just say, hey, look, I really want to be full time. If it's not going to happen here, that's totally cool. I'm going to go try to make that happen somewhere else. But I would kind of call the ball on, hey, is this going to happen? And what time frame is this going to happen in? And then you need to make a decision if you're okay with that.
Yeah, that's honestly like what I feel like I just needed someone to say it. I feel like I've been thinking that for so long, and it's just I've had a few conversations that kind of gave me the runaround, but maybe I do need to be a little more straightforward and just say, hey, like, is it going to happen?
Yeah, I would be super straightforward. People are conflict avoidant. People hate this question. They hate having this conversation. And mostly people who work in production are very creative. They're good at facilitating other people. It's not great people managers are not often born out of production, just from my experience. So I think you should just force a really honest conversation, and maybe you need to make it okay on like, hey, if it's not going to happen, I'm cool with that. I get it. I just would appreciate you being straight with me. And I would have a little bit more black and white conversation on it. And they may not know the answer, right that minute, but I would be like, I'd really appreciate if you could get back to me by Friday or whatever, but give yourself a date. And then that way you just know. And then you'll need to decide, do you care? Do you want to stay here and keep doing it? Or do you want to go be full-time somewhere else? And you should also get really smart in the meantime of, are there other freelance gigs out there? Like I have someone right now here who's asking for like a massive raise, and the raise, like I went and looked at all the available jobs similar to what that person does. They don't pay anywhere near what this person is looking for, and there aren't very many of them. So you should also have a really good understanding of like, how much leverage do you have? And so if you get smart on all those things, I think you can have a way more productive conversation. Let's go. I'm never going to have a better call than this. Hello.
Oh my gosh, I got
back. You cannot be a pushover. Nobody is going to respect you. We got to get going on that. Be comfortable when you're sick, stats creep. You're also stunting your life. I don't know if that was helpful.